just look around. You got the mountains, you got the most beautiful city in the whole entire country. The university is absolutely, looks like it's out of a storybook. It's just beautiful. People are incredibly genuine and extremely nice. It's just a place that obviously I'd want my kids to go to school. And it sells itself. You don't have to sell anything about this place. You just got to get them here. You know, the old field of dreams. Yeah. Build it and they will come. It's already built. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here.
Back when I was 16, 17, and I decided I was going to come to University of Tennessee, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to knock some number ones off and become number one. Obviously, you know, that's not exactly how it went, but that's what we plan to do, you know, knock a number one off. And that's not a billboard statement or anything like that. I think everybody who plays a number one team wants to knock them off. So that's what we're going to do. And it's just a matter of execution, doing the little things right and doing it consistently.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley, and I'm all alone. I came down to my office. I was going to make my typical game day 5 things to watch video, and I just thought about it. I was like, I'm going to pour some coffee. I'm going to grab an energy drink, and I'm just going to wait until SEC Nation at 10 o'clock. So why not just go live? Why not see what the Talkin VAWLS faithful are up to? I really don't have any plans. We can just jump on here, talk a little football. The Indy kid is out of town, so he's not going to be joining us. I sent Dauber a text on about 15 minutes notice. I said, if you want to jump on, jump on. If you don't, that's fine too. But I'm just here to hang out with you guys. Feel what the pulse is like on this game day as Tennessee gets ready to take on number 1 Georgia here in just a moment. Let's run down the chat. Let's see who is hanging out. Chase Livesey is in the house, says, let's go. Ready for war. What about you guys? I'm glad you're fired up, Chase. I'm a little, I don't know, I'm kind of back and forth. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this team can do, but I don't have that anxiety, that nervous feeling in my gut where I'm expecting a win. I think that's, you look back at the Kentucky game, the Missouri game, the South Carolina game, I felt confident in those matchups. So it's almost an expectation. You're expecting Tennessee to win. So there's a little bit of that anxiety, but I don't really feel that. I hope you guys do. Let me know in the comments if you guys are fired up, if you think Tennessee has a chance. Reese Morgan in the house. David Farmer says, early game commence. Go Big Orange. I think they call that the notification squad, David. That's what those young folk call it, notification squad. Blueberry J in the house. Captain Woodland says, early morning live. Yeah, this is, in short fuse, you're right. You're right. I thought we agreed we weren't going to do these pregame live shows. This is not tailgating with Talkin VAWLS. This is College Football Saturday, early morning edition, just coming on to hang out with you guys. So it's not tailgating with Talkin VAWLS. We're not going to bring the curse back into effect. What do you guys think about the Peyton Manning curse? Manning announced this week that he would be at the game. He issued a warning to the Georgia Bulldogs to watch out for Tennessee. Do you guys buy into the Manning curse? You know, a lot of people got upset because I made a video talking about it. And I don't buy into the Manning curse. I don't believe in the Manning curse. Maybe the Philip Fulmer curse. Maybe I do buy into that a little bit. The years of suffering we went through after firing a national championship coach. Not to get sidetracked, Phil Fulmer deserved to be fired at the time. It was time to move on. But I don't buy into this Peyton Manning curse. The Peyton Manning curse is nothing more than Peyton Manning comes to Knoxville for the big time games. He's not coming to Knoxville when Tennessee plays Vanderbilt, or he's not coming to Knoxville when Tennessee plays South Alabama. He's going to come to Knoxville when they're playing a number 1 Georgia, or they're playing in Alabama. They're playing a big-time opponent. So the Manning curse is really just more of Tennessee being down basically since Peyton Manning graduated, won the national championship the next year with T. Martin, but we all know how the story unfolds after that. I saw a question here. Where was it? Where did it go? Short Fuse is forgiving me, it appears. Okay, deal. I don't buy into the curse, but I'll buy into the hype of this team. John Bright asking, any news on Jabari Small, Tyon Evans? I think Small's probably going to be a go. It'll be interesting to watch pregame warm-ups, see who is out there moving around. I don't have a good feeling about Tylen Evans playing. What did he play last week against Georgia? I had the stats pulled up here. I think he only played one snap. Let me look and see. He had one carry for 9 yards and then limped out of the game. That's those ankle sprains are tough, man. They're tough. You look at Cooper Mays, how long he was banged up with his ankle. Cade Mays, it helped Cade Mays that they had the bye week. It gave him a little bit of extra time to get healthy. Buck Buchanan in the house says, I'll take that Jeep today after the game. Boogie. Don't get confused. We said maybe. We said maybe we would give the Jeep away. What's your confidence level, guys? What is your confidence level heading into this game? Do you truly believe that Tennessee has a chance? There is a difference between believing they can compete and believing they win this game. I have no doubt that Tennessee is going to go out and compete. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee jumps out to an early lead. We've seen it all year long. I don't have any notes, stats, stuff in front of me. I'm just winging this thing. But we went over it on the last live stream, how they have outscored their opponents in the first quarter. It's been ridiculous how many points they have put up. But I think a lot of that comes to tempo. And, Josh Heupel, that up-tempo offense, it takes the defense a few drives to adjust. And you can practice it all you want. I saw an article or a post that Kirby Smart had been practicing against the up-tempo for 4 weeks to get ready for this Josh Heupel team. I don't buy into that. I don't believe that. I don't think that Kirby Smart is going to be overlooking opponents for so many weeks to get ready for a Tennessee team that's not ranked. I don't see that. I don't see it. Vols time saying Tennessee 34, Georgia 31. I'll take that. I'll take that. Let me say this real quick. Well, let me take a sip of coffee real quick. I can't pitch to Dauber and Indy Kids, so you guys just have to hang tight while I drink a little coffee. I do want to say this. We got 83 people watching live right now. Again, impromptu show, went live on about 15 minutes notice. Didn't really know what to expect, but just wanted to come on, hang out, talk with you guys, see who showed up. Do me a favor. Make sure you do smash the thumbs up and also hit share. Share it out on Facebook, on Twitter, on social media. Just blast it out there. Let somebody know that we're live because it was such short notice. And then just a reminder, we will be live immediately following the game this afternoon. Jonathan Rice for $5. Thank you for the super chat. Woke up singing Rocky Top, now eating gravy and biscuits and drinking my coffee, watching the best fan YouTube show there is. Go Big Orange, VFL, Tennessee 34, Georgia 17. Thank you, Jonathan, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Oh, man, gravy and biscuits. Let me shut this thing down and head on over, man. That's a good way to start your morning. But do you believe that, Jonathan? Do you believe – I think Tennessee can score some points. I think I went with 45-20 Georgia. I think Tennessee can score some points. I'm worried about the ability to stop Georgia's offense, more specifically their run game. Octavian Cater for $99 or 99-cent super sticker. I wish it was a $99 super sticker, but thank you for the 99-cent super sticker. We appreciate it. I've got an article I'm going to share and kind of give me a platform to go through some of this stuff. Let me get it up on the screen. Plus, it gets my big, ugly mug off to the side. I'm sure you guys appreciate that. That's way more enjoyable. Short Fuse says, let's tailgate next week at Neyland. South Alabama beat down 6:30 kickoff, real tailgate in the parking lot. We were talking about that. It was something we mentioned earlier in the year, but we really didn't do a good job going through with those plans. Dauber brought it up last week and was like, guys, are we going to the South Alabama game or not? I don't think we're going to. We definitely want to do a meet and greet. We wanted to – let me take this down because I'm going to change gears again. Then we'll get into that article. It's good. It's 5 questions answered by 24/7 Sports. It kind of plays into my 5 things to watch. But we had talked about, going down to a game, tailgate, and hanging out with you guys. But we had also talked about maybe doing the spring game. But now with all the $30 million renovations to the athletic facilities, the upgrades to the stadium, they're talking about moving the orange and white game maybe to Nissan Stadium in Nashville. So I don't think that we would do that. We need to do another meet and greet, though. We did one here locally. A few people came out for that. It was a lot of fun. but it was also the bowl game. It was a weeknight. It was tough for people out of town to come in. So we'll figure out something. Whether the problem with doing a game, and I know it's South Alabama, and a lot of you guys would say, hey, we'll sacrifice a post-game show in order to hang out at a tailgate. That would be worth it. But man, I pride myself on not missing those post-game shows. You know, we put one on after every game since we started going live. But we'll figure out something. Definitely want to do a meet and greet, come hang out with you guys, put names with faces. That'll be a lot of fun. So, you know, we'll keep you guys updated. We'll figure something out. Logan Godsey for 5. Thank you for the super chat. We either win by a field goal or lose by 20. No in between. I would agree with that. If Tennessee finds a way to win this game, it's going to be dirty. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be very similar to that Kentucky game. The difference being, if Georgia goes a full football game and does not punt, Tennessee's in trouble. It's like you said there. It's going to be a blowout. Tennessee is going to get ran out of Neyland Stadium if Georgia does not punt. They're going to have to get some stops on defense. You know, I talked about starting fast. Let me hit this $1.99 super chat. Thank you for the support, Balls Time. Doesn't say anything, just puts a tip in the tip jar, which I appreciate that. But if Tennessee comes out and they start fast, and we've talked about their ability to score points in the first quarter, their defense is who needs to step up. Their defense can get that momentum going early. So let's say Tennessee receives, they go right down the field and score. If they let Georgia go right down the field and score, I don't know that they're going to be able to stop Georgia enough. I have all the confidence in the world in Josh Heupel's offense and the ability to score points. I just don't have confidence. This defense, man, they played tough all year. They really have. And a lot of Georgia fans have been on the channel this week running their mouth, talking smack, which is fine. They're welcome here too. But they talk about how terrible Tennessee's defense is. They want to look at points per game. But all you guys in the chat, anybody that follows this football team knows that this Tim Banks defense has gotten stops at the right time. They're put under a lot of pressure because of the offense, because of the up tempo. And Josh Heupel's not going to slow down. I saw somebody saying, you know, we need to slow down, win the time of possession. That is not Josh Heupel's game. He is not going to sacrifice that for anything. He is not going to change who he is. We've seen it all year long. There's a couple of times you're thinking in the back of your head, man, let's slow down. Let's eat a little clock. It doesn't happen. There have been times where, you know, due to the game circumstances, it's a play that you should let be reviewed. Josh Heupel's not going to wait around for it to be reviewed. He is going to live and die by tempo. But if they get out to a quick start and they score and they get a couple of stops on Georgia early, if they jump out to a 14-point lead, how much does Neyland Stadium impact the outcome of this game? Now, Georgia's been there, done that, number one team in the country. Some of you, talk about their weak schedule, but they're still number one for a reason. But how do they respond in Neyland Stadium, dark mode, if Tennessee jumps out on a 14-0 lead early? How do they respond to that? I think that's the only way Tennessee has a chance. They got to jump on them early. Octavian Cador for $10. That ain't a cheap super chat. We appreciate that. Says if Tennessee scores 17 in the first half, it's gonna be a long day for Georgia. The key is no turnovers and staying out of third and long, and push the tempo on Max and turnover UGA. Yeah, 17 in the first half. I want 14 points I want a 14-0 lead. If Tennessee jumps out to a 14-0 lead, I'm going to be bought in, sitting in front of my TV, expecting to win. They are going to completely change my mind if they start fast and they jump out to a 14-point lead. Third down is going to be crucial. Third down is crucial, especially on defense. Tennessee has got to get off the field on third down. They were absolutely horrible last week against Kentucky. 12 of 17 on third down defense. You cannot do that. You have to get off the field. And those weren't, third and ones, third and 4, third and 2. Those were third and 8s, third and 9s. They had some long third down conversions against that Tennessee defense. And yes, Josh Heupel and this offense are going to score points, but you can't continue to put them in that defense on the field. What was it? 99 plays last week, 99 plays. And I'm curious to see how they respond this week against Georgia, because Georgia is a very physical football team. Say guys were getting treatment all week long, beat up after playing 99 plays on defense. Taylor Smith with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says conspiracy here. Do you really think the SEC and refs will let us win? I feel like if we start getting ahead, the bad officiating will come out. Now, you ask this question, and a Georgia fan sitting here with us, or an Alabama fan is sitting here with us, they're going to say that you're crazy. But the reality of the situation is, we've seen SEC officiating protect their top-ranked teams. It's a big money business. It is a big money business, and everybody knows the SEC wants to put two teams into that college football playoff year in and year out so that they have an opportunity to make more money, to represent. It's all about the money. If you ever have a question in life, follow the money. The money tells all. And that you're right. You're right. It's I don't think it is a conspiracy. I think it's 100% a possibility. Tennessee jumps out to a fast start. Do the flags start coming out? Do we start seeing more false starts on receivers that aren't on screen, and we can't get a replay? How many times do you watch college football and there's a false start and the number's not mentioned by the official? There's no replay to be seen anywhere. No, you're not crazy, Taylor Smith. I'm with you. Tyler says we got some clowns in the chat. Are they Georgia clowns? Are they Georgia clowns? One Paul, I don't know if that's who you're talking about. He's not a clown. He's a regular listener, but he doesn't agree with me very often, and that's fine. That's fine. As long as you guys keep it civil, you're more than welcome to hang out, talk football. Appreciate you guys showing up. We got 137 people watching just Boogie sit here by himself talking football. But, man, I could be sitting upstairs just thinking about football, or I could be on here talking with you guys. So I decided to fire up the live stream. Glad you guys are hanging out. Make sure you smash that thumbs up. Share out the link, all that good stuff. Lance Heap, as a portfolio manager who deals with money for a living, you are spot on with that, Boogie. It's true. It's true in government. It's true in athletics. It's true everywhere. It's true everywhere. Follow the money. Follow the money. Tyler, Indy Kid is on vacation. He won't be with us for the post-game show, but myself and Dobber will be live. This isn't on them. I sent Dobber a text about 10 minutes before I jumped on, so. Let's go ahead and transition. Let me pull this article back up. I'll try to keep an eye on the comment section. So if you guys drop a super chat, I'll be sure to hit them. But this is 24/7 Sports article by Wes Rucker. 5 questions, Georgia at Tennessee. The article here says Josh Heupel and his staff have dozens of questions they hope to have answered during Tennessee's 3:30 Eastern game against Georgia at Neyland Stadium. Let's trim the list of 5 of the most crucial questions Tennessee must answer against the top-ranked Bulldogs. Tennessee, 5-4, hopes to stun the nation's top team with a huge statement win in the first season of the Heupel era. And Georgia hopes to earn another comfortable win to maintain its firm hold atop the college football playoff rankings. How big of a statement would it be? How huge would it be for this football program to get a win against Georgia? I feel like we have been back on the national stage a little bit. You know, I'm recording SEC Nation. Comes on at 10 o'clock. I always record it, start a little bit late. That way I can fast forward the commercials. But game day, I'm curious to see what game day has to say. But they've not been talking about Tennessee for a long time. But once they start to get some momentum, start to get relevant, it's nice to see them back on the national stage. I feel like we are getting that again. But a win over Georgia would be huge for this program, huge for recruiting. Speaking of, Walter Nolan will be in the house. I know a lot of people upset that he committed to Texas A&M. That recruitment is not over. Rodney Garner, when Rodney Garner is involved, don't worry about Texas A&M. We'll see how that plays out. So here's the number one question from Wes Rucker when it comes to Tennessee, Georgia. We kind of touched on this a little earlier. Will Tennessee start fast? Will Tennessee start fast? I think this is a huge key for me. If Tennessee is going to have a chance to hang around and have an opportunity to win this football game. It says no matter how many times we come across this stat, it still stuns the senses. It does for me too. Every time I'm like, the number is baffling, but it's every single week. Tennessee is outscoring opponents 138-37 in the first quarter of this season. Stop and think about that for a moment. It's crazy. In 9 games, the Vols have averaged a lead of more than 11.2 points heading into the second quarter. That's just wild for a team that has a 5-2 6-4 record. And going back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier, I think for Tennessee to have a chance, for me, for Boogie to sit there and buy in, for me to start to believe and get that nervous feeling in my gut, 14 points. I want a 14-point lead in the first quarter, and I will start to believe and buy in. It says here, Tennessee's hyperspeed offense is something that jars opponents early in games. Even an SEC scout team doesn't properly prepare you for facing that scheme. You usually have to face it a few drives before you adjust to it, and the Vols try to make that first quarter polar plunge as damaging as possible because their lack of depth becomes problematic as the game progresses. Start fast. What are you guys looking for? What type of lead? I know a lot of you guys are already bought in. You're already buying in. You're already believing. Do you have that nervous feeling in the pit of your stomach that Tennessee has a chance today? I want that nervous feeling. Going back to the Ole Miss game, you know, I talked about it a lot that week, and I don't know if people really grasp what I'm talking about. That week felt different. The buzz, the energy, the way people were talking about Tennessee football on the radio call-in shows, on message boards, the internet. Everybody was excited because Tennessee, they weren't just playing a top team in the country in Ole Miss. They were expected to win. We believed as a fan base, regardless of what the media said, regardless of what the point spread told us. We believed. Article here goes on to say, Georgia, on the other hand, just doesn't ever really allow opponents to score. They lead the country by a wide margin in scoring defense, allowing just 6.6 points per game. For perspective, second place Texas A&M allows 14.7 points per game. The Bulldogs also score more than 38 points per game, so you can see why most of their games are in snooze mode by the second half. You know, that Georgia defense, say what you want. Say what you want about their opponents, who they've played. 6 points a game? 6 points a game? That is ridiculous. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what to tell you. I don't care who they've played. They're in the SEC. They're 9-0. They played 9 games, and they're giving up 6 points a game. That is cause for concern. Short fuse for 5. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. How insane will those stats be with a full roster? That's a great comment, Short Fuse. That's what excites me. And that's what I wanted to see from Josh Heupel in year one. I wanted to see that this offense could be successful. And I believed it could based on what he did at Missouri as the offensive coordinator, but it's different when you're the head coach. Let's look at Jeremy Pruitt, right? Jeremy Pruitt as a defensive coordinator was very successful. As a head coach, an absolute turd. Absolute turd. What can Josh Heupel do with a full roster? He's going to have to go get some guys in the transfer portal. But I truly believe guys are going to see what Hendon Hooker did. But I think Hendon Hooker's back. I do. We've had this conversation before. I think Hendon Hooker's back. But he's going to have to go get a quarterback. Who wouldn't want to play in this offense? Bayless Jones Jr. said it at the beginning of the year during the spring. Javonte Peyton is talking about it now. Mr. First quarter touchdown, Javonte Peyton. He's saying who wouldn't want to play in this offense? John Hill for 10. Thank you for the super chat. Says, let's go play our best game and upset the dog, sick and balls, and let's go Big Orange. I like it, John. I like it. Tennessee's going to have to play their best game today if they're going to be hanging around in the fourth quarter. But I like the energy. Hopkins lacrosse fan, what's up? What is up, my friend? $10 super chat. Thank you for the generous super chat. Good morning, brother. I've never watched a game unless I believed we could win. That is right. I'll always believe they can win. Says that's counterproductive. We shocked the world today. 28-25. Go Big Orange. I'll take it, Hop. I'll take it. And I do always believe, but I always ask myself too, when we're making predictions on the show or when somebody's asking my honest opinion, I always ask myself, if I had to bet every penny in my bank account, if I had to put my car on the line, my house on the line, would I pick Tennessee to win today? I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So I don't truly believe. I believe they can win, but will they win? Two different questions. But good to see you, Hop, on this early Saturday morning. hanging out, man. Just a fun live stream, relaxed, laid back. Got this article to go through, getting your guys' comments. I like seeing what you guys have to say. Just taking it up to SEC Nation. We got almost 200 people watching, 200 people on 15 minutes notice on a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Blows my mind. You guys, the way you support this channel, make sure you hit the thumbs up. We got 86 thumbs up. Let's get it over 100. There's 186 of you watching. 100 of you are watching, enjoying the show, drinking your coffee, but you haven't hit thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up, helps the channel. But what you guys do for us is amazing. Word of mouth grows this channel. Sharing the videos, hitting the like button, all that stuff. It grows. We are 400 subscribers away from 10,000. It's nuts. We are all just like you guys. Myself, Dauber, Indy Kid. We're just like you guys. We're just Tennessee fans, man. We are just Tennessee fans that randomly decided to start a YouTube channel, and it has blown up. It's blown up because we're like-minded. We are all just alike. You lunatics in this chat are just like me. You wake up, the Tennessee doesn't play till 3:30, but the second your eyes open, you're thinking about Tennessee football. When you lay your head down at night, you're thinking about Tennessee football. If a buddy of yours is getting married, but Tennessee plays Georgia, you're not going. You're thinking about Tennessee football. Nobody gets married. Nobody gets married during football season. What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you people? Although Evan counts, regular supporter of the channel. I think he got married last night. But his family and her family were going to be watching the game to get together today. That's what a volunteer fan is all about. You guys were all just alike. I think that's why this channel is successful, because I ain't sitting here pretending like I know more than you. I don't. I'm just a fan just like you guys. Dauber, Indy Kid, same mindset, man. We're just here to talk ball with you guys. Let's look at number 2 on the article of 5 questions. Will Tennessee run well enough to at least make Georgia respect it? Says here, no defense allows just 6.6 points per game without stopping the run. Well, Georgia allows just 6.6 per game. Yeah, Georgia stops the run. Says the Dogs are second nationally against the run, allowing less than 80.7 yards per game on the ground. Only Wisconsin, giving up 54.7 per game on the ground, is better in that regard. Georgia also second nationally in yards allowed per carry at 2.6. My goodness, that is ridiculous. And again, only Wisconsin is better at 1.9 per carry. Tennessee on paper has a better chance than most to at least make a dent in the Dogs' rushing defense. Balls are 19th nationally, 217 rushing yards per game. Doing damage on the ground against good rushing defense hasn't been a strength for these Vols, though, especially with the offensive line injuries and the injuries that have decimated the depth chart at running back. None of Tennessee's top 4 running backs are 100% healthy, and it remains to be seen whether co-starters Tylen Evans and Jabari Small will be available today. Evans had just 1 carry for 9 yards before the ankle forced him out, and Small had 55 yards and a touchdown on just 4 carries before being forced out. But you know who looked good in that game against Kentucky? And it's a guy that, we talked a lot about back during the spring, because he's a guy that had a lot of hype about him, had a lot of positive talk coming from Jerry Mack, coming from Josh Heupel, coming from Golish. A lot of guys talking about Jaylen Wright back during the spring and how he may be the most athletic running back on the team. We saw him earlier in the year. He seemed like a guy that wanted to dance a little bit too much in the backfield, try to make too many cuts, try to make something happen. He looked really good against Kentucky. Now, he only had 7 carries, but he looked good on those 7 carries, had 50 yards, averaged 7.1 per carry. I thought Jabari Small looked good at times, but, man, you can just tell he is a guy that is beat all to pieces. He is beat all to pieces. So if he gets in there, how healthy is he going to be? It's a concern. It's a concern. It's good to have your starting 5 back on the offensive line, but the running back position, definitely a concern. Are you going to have to rely on Marcus Pierce? I could see Marcus Pierce getting some carries. You're talking about a walk-on at running back. And Marcus Pierce has looked good. I mean, kudos to him. He come in, put his head down, and he looks good. But losing Tylen Evans has really impacted the running game for this Josh Heupel offense. And a lot of people want to talk about how this is a passing offense. They throw it around. It all starts with the run. This offense starts first with tempo, second with the run, and then that opens up the passing attack. Says here, most Tennessee fans understand by this point. Heupel's offense, despite deploying the wideout splits you'll see at this level, is typically, well, okay. Probably should have read the article before I made the comments. Talking about the offense being centered around a power running game, the ball spread the field to its horizontal max, forcing defenses to declare coverages before snap, and that makes it really tough to stop the run unless you have a dominant defensive front. Top of Tennessee's injury issues, the fact is Georgia's defensive front is dominant and a very serious problem for most opponents. Tennessee will need its big play wideouts to make big plays in the game. That's crystal clear, but it's much easier to do. The opponent has to respect your running game. If the Vols can't be explosive on the ground against Georgia, they do need to at least be relevant in that realm. They're going to have to run the football. Let me hit this super chat real quick. You guys being very generous this early Saturday morning. I appreciate the support. Travis Adair for 10. Thank you for the super chat. Honestly, Boogie, I think you guys will play well. The crowd will be insane. Just think it will be too much Georgia in the second half. Next year, though, SEC East champs. Good to see you hanging out, Travis. For those who don't know, Travis, big-time Arkansas fan. Got to know him back during baseball season. Man, good rivalry with Arkansas and the Tennessee baseball program. And Travis was a lot of fun for those live streams. I always love people from other fan bases that are civil and know how to have a conversation about athletics. It's great, man. It's great. And even though Alan V. Troll Patrol is a troll, he's still fun. I like interacting with him. I enjoy hanging out with other fan bases when they keep it civil. But let's not put the cart in front of the horse with that SEC East Championship talk. I don't want the expectations to grow too much for Josh Heupel. And when you don't meet those expectations, the fan base checks out on him. And I already feel like we're dangerously approaching that territory. And maybe it's a good problem to have because it means that Josh Heupel's having success. But we just have to be careful because there are people that all of a sudden the expectation is that Tennessee beats Georgia today. And that should be the expectation in that locker room. No doubt about it. Expect to win every single game. That's why I love that quote from Matthew Butler that I opened the show with. Expect to win every game. He expects to go knock off number 1 Georgia. That's the culture and the mindset that Josh Heupel has created. But as a fan base, I don't have to expect to beat Georgia. And if Tennessee loses today, as long as they go out, they compete, they fight, they look like they've looked all year long. I think it was Swain that made the point. At what point do we stop talking about effort and, fighting and competing for 60 minutes? That should be the expectation. At what point do we just let that go and Josh Heupel's teams compete? We know that. We don't have to talk about it because that's what they do. And that's a good point from Swain. But I just don't want the expectation for Josh Heupel and this team next year to be an SEC East championship. And then when it doesn't happen, people are ready to fire Josh Heupel. I think Josh Heupel has proven himself in this first year. He's going to have to continue to prove himself on the recruiting trail, continue to prove himself using the transfer portal. I think Tennessee, I like that when Danny White hired Josh Heupel, he said he tried to do everything possible to not hire him, because he knew that everybody was going to say, oh, he just went and hired his buddy. But I think we got a good football coach in Josh Heupel. Let's go on and look at the next question. Tennessee takes on number 1 Georgia here in just a few hours. Will Tennessee get a Superman performance from Hendon Hooker? It's tough to envision a scenario where Tennessee completely limits Georgia's offense only 1 week after putting together by far its worst performance of the season in the win at Kentucky. And that Kentucky game, guys, maybe that's why I don't have that confidence. Maybe that's why I don't have that nervous feeling in my gut about whether or not Tennessee's going to go out and actually win this game, is because of how bad they played on defense against Kentucky. Excuse me. Goes on to say, as much as the Vols have overachieved on that side of the ball this season, I love that comment from Wes Rucker right there. Because, again, a lot of Georgia fans, a lot of Alabama fans talk about how terrible this Tennessee defense is. They have overachieved on defense. They've overachieved all year long, but they had a horrible outing last week. And that's what people want to talk about is last week. Says, I very much believe they have overall. They took a huge step in the wrong direction. In Lexington, Kentucky overpowered Tennessee in a way that opponents hadn't done practically the entire season. And the Vols were as bad as it gets on third down. Georgia does some of the same stuff Kentucky does offensively, but it does it with better players. In other words, even if the Vols play a lot better defensively than they did last week, they're going to allow at least a few touchdowns. There's almost no way around it. When you combine that with the quality of the Dogs' defense, you come up with very few ways for Tennessee to win this game. One of those ways is a Superman performance from senior quarterback Hendon Hooker. He's been a revelation for the Vols, doing the good things he did from his days at Virginia Tech while eliminating the parts of his game that were frustrating in Blacksburg. He's been one of the college football's best quarterbacks past couple of months. His efficiency numbers are elite, and he's still doing damage with his legs despite a sore knee that's giving him some problems. And maybe that sore knee is the reason why. Maybe that sore knee is the reason why we're not seeing Hendon Hooker in the run game, in the designed run game. Hendon Hooker's making a ton of plays with his feet, ton of plays, extending plays. Man, he is so elusive in the open field. The kid's not going to slide. He's going to always try to make somebody miss, going to try to pick up extra yards. He's a baller. He's a gamer. I love the guy, man. He's hands down, obviously my favorite quarterback since Dobbs. But, man, it's hard to think of a quarterback that I liked as much as I like Hendon Hooker. The way he competed through all the Joe Milton stuff, just kept his head down, continued to work, waited till he got his time, and then now he has been shining. But you got to give credit to Josh Heupel in this offense, too. When you're talking about what Hendon Hooker did at Virginia Tech versus what he's doing at Tennessee, it's a lot of scheme, but it's Hendon Hooker putting the ball on the money too, man. He is a great quarterback. Says here, as good as Hooker has been this season, he needs to be even better for the Vols to have a chance in this game. Heupel often says he doesn't need his players to be extraordinary because consistently doing the ordinary at a high level is good enough. Wow, what a strong statement. Says that might not be good enough in this game, though. Tennessee needs Hooker to be extraordinary. Is that fair to Hooker? No, it's not, but life isn't fair, especially when you are the starting quarterback at the University of Tennessee. The expectation is higher. It's higher. Says this matchup is what it is. It's tough. It requires Tennessee to be better than the sum of its parts, and it requires some of those parts to be special. Hooker is one of those parts, and he needs to be special. That really just kind of sums up this season as a whole, though, right? I mean, it sums up this season. It's Tennessee has done more with less all year long. All year long, they have done more with less. And that is why I am so impressed with Hendon Hooker and what he's done. But on the flip side of that, it's not mentioned here in the article. That's why I was scrolling down to see if they mentioned it. They got to keep Hendon Hooker's jersey clean. They got to keep him upright. They got to keep him on his feet because Georgia is going to bring pressure. And we've seen a lot of success with this Tennessee offense vertically, stretching the field. They use those quick wide receiver screens to the outside, or they stretch the field vertically. They're going to have to do something different. Are they going to be able to keep his jersey clean? We'll find out. But I think that is going to be a huge factor in whether or not this offense gets rolling. Short Fuse member of the channel wants to talk about what a disappointment Joe Milton turned out to be. You know, I mean, you're right. And you guys know, anybody that's been around on this show for a while knows how big of a supporter I was of Joe Milton. It wasn't really that I don't care. I said it then, I say it now. I don't care who starts. Whoever is starting is who I'm for. It wasn't that I was pulling for Joe Milton to win the job. It was that everything we heard was how great Joe Milton looked in practice. We heard it from players, coaches. We heard it from, you know, the insiders, guys that have access to practice. It's not like, you know, I'm sitting back analyzing Joe Milton's film and saying how great he's going to be. I'm trusting guys that are in and around the program. Excuse me. The same guys that I always trust. You know, guys like Jason Swain. Love him or hate him. I don't care if you like Swain or not. He's one of my favorites. Ainge gets a little crazy sometimes, but I do respect Ainge. And I think when it comes to quarterback play, you're talking about a guy that started in the SEC. I trust Ainge. And then obviously Austin Price, Brent Hubbs over at VolQuest, those guys always spot on. So it's not that I was pulling for Joe Milton for a specific reason. That's who you heard was going to get the job. So it is disappointing, but again, I don't care. I didn't care if it was Hendon Hooker. I didn't care if it was Harrison Bailey, Joe Milton, whoever it was. I just wanted to see them succeed. And in that Pitt game, before Joe Milton got hurt, I was ready to move on. I was ready to give somebody else an opportunity. It was maddening to see the number of plays that Josh Heupel schemed up and they weren't being executed. It was maddening. Guys, we got 242 people watching live. Do me a favor, smash that thumbs up just below the video. Helps the channel, analytics, all that good stuff. We got 126 now. Over 100 of you are having your morning coffee with Boogie, talking a little Tennessee football, but refuse to hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. Let's blow it up. Let's get it up to 200. 200 thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Just a reminder, myself and Dauber will be live immediately following the game as well, so make sure you tune in for that. Hope we are celebrating and not drowning our sorrows. Let's move on to the next question that Wes Rucker is asking. If Tennessee can be successful in this game, will Tennessee make Stetson Bennett throw the ball? The simple answer should be yes. Stack the box, make Stetson Bennett beat you with his arm. Article here says it seems crazy on the surface to suggest that Tennessee forcing one of the most efficient passers in college football to throw the ball is a key to potentially winning this game, but that's a key to Tennessee potentially winning this game. It says just 3 quarterbacks in college football have a higher passer rating than Hendon Hooker. One of them is Coastal Carolina's star, Grayson McCall. Another is rising star Caleb Williams at Oklahoma. The other is Stetson Bennett. Yes, Stetson Bennett, the walk-on turn, temporary starter turn, perhaps permanent passer, permanent starter at Georgia. And let's talk about Stetson Bennett a little bit. He can beat Tennessee with his feet. It says here, solid athlete, not a great one. Arm talent, adequate. You know, it helps. It helps when you're playing on one of the best teams in the country. You become really efficient when you play on one of the best teams in the country. It says you look on paper, Bennett is the nation's number 3 rated passer, and even now the presumed starter JT Daniels is healthy. Bennett is the one pulling the strings for the undisputed number 1 team in the country. It's funny, their fan base makes it out as a quarterback controversy when they're undefeated and number 1 in the country. It says here, you are what your numbers say you are. And Bennett deserves nothing but credit on that front, but despite the veteran making some really impressive throws last week, still not totally buying it. Bennett is under pressure a lot, and his numbers plummet near the bottom of the league the rare times he's hurried. That is key. We talked about it on the Wednesday night show, the live show. Sell out, man. Sell out to just bring the house. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? They go score a touchdown. Or they can just line up and run it down your throat and go score a touchdown. Tennessee needs to be aggressive. They need to sell out and bring the house, dial up blitzes. We saw a very frustrated Tim Banks last week after Tennessee gave up the 4th and 24. He said, hold my beer. We're bringing the house the rest of this game, and they got after it. And they got out of Lexington with a win. They need to do the same at 3:30 today. Sell out, bring the house, and see if you can force Stetson Bennett into making a mistake that you can capitalize on. Let's move on down here to the last one, because that kind of fits in with what I'm talking about here. Will Tennessee be bold? Wes Rucker says, let's be adults here. Let's look at the situation with something resembling objectivity. Let's call things what they are. If Tennessee does what it usually does and Georgia does what they usually do, the Dogs probably win this game without sweating too much in the 4th quarter. So let's look at the things that could change that. For starters, Georgia could have a bad day at the office. It happens to every team, every season, and every sport. You know, we were talking about that this week too. Somebody, I think it was in the comment section, going back and forth with you guys. It's time for Georgia to have that late season meltdown. What better time than now? Against Tennessee, Neyland Stadium, 3:30, CBS, the entire country watching, number 1 Georgia falls. They find a way to do it every year. Every single year, they find a way to do it. It's time for that late season Georgia meltdown. Article goes on to say, Tennessee can't count on that, though. If your plan going into the game is that your opponent will make unforced errors, your plan sucks. I love Wes Rucker. Says it's safe to suggest Heupel isn't an idiot. He and his staff have spent the week coming up with a plan to combat the myriad obstacles associated with an opponent of this caliber on offense, defense, and special teams. From this angle, that plan needs to be a bit bolder than usual. I'm not sure Tennessee can prevent Georgia from scoring a significant amount of points, so you have to plan to counter that, right? So go for it. Teams don't reinvent themselves this late in the season. They are what they are, and for the most part, They do what they do. They know their strengths and weaknesses, and they try to emphasize the good while limiting the damage from the bad. He says, duh. Probably wouldn't have put that in there. Actually, I want to retract my statement that I love Wes Rucker. Leave that out. Leave that out. Says this game is where Tennessee has absolutely nothing to lose, so why not play it that way? Don't go crazy, but flirt with crazy. Be aggressive, tweak some things, do whatever you can to make Georgia uncomfortable, even occasionally at the risk of making yourself uncomfortable. That's what I'm saying on defense. I don't think we have to say that on offense. I think Josh Heupel has proven that he'll go for it on fourth down. If they're in that mid-range, he's going to go for it. Torrey Sanders right there in the chat. Come on, man. We got to sell out the game. Yeah, where is everybody? How have they not sold out this game? But Tennessee also has to sell out the blitz. Bring it, man. Be aggressive. What is the worst that can happen? You lose to the number one team? That's it? That's the worst? Says here, some will say there's a big difference in losing the game by 10 points and losing by 30 points. I'm not sure I concur. I think the way you coach and play this game matters as much as anything. I want to see them fight and compete. If they lose by 30 because they got aggressive, so be it. So be it. A loss is a loss. Doesn't matter. Says perhaps some will criticize you for being bold in this game and having that blow up in your face. I won't. Shoot your shot, balls. Shoot your shot. Don't just sit there and go through the motions like this is a normal game. It is not. What do you guys think? Any kid brought up some interesting points on Wednesday when you talk about thinking outside the box, doing something different. Josh Sparkman there in the chat. Got to bring pressure. Got to bring it. We're not going to see this, but I like the Indy kid talking about it. Why not slide Theo Jackson into linebacker? I know that is a completely different position. Maybe he's not big enough. Maybe he's not physical enough. Maybe it's one of those things that it's just stupidity to even talk about it. But I don't understand how you have Turnage come in and be the SEC Defensive Player of the Week a few weeks ago, and he's not been able to find his way back onto the field since then. We know that Theo Jackson can play safety. Why not bounce him back to safety? A position that Tennessee has struggled at all year long. Safety and linebacker play has not been up to par. Why not try Theo Jackson and get Turnage in there at the star position? Try something different. Think outside the box. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me this early morning Saturday. We still got 230 some people watching. I didn't know what to expect. Last minute, like about 15 minutes notice, decided to go live. I knew you guys would show up and show out. You guys want to talk a little ball. You can also show some support for the channel. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We got Talkin VAWLS merch, any and all support, greatly appreciated. We are on that road to 1,000 subscribers. I think we are up to 9,600. So if you know somebody that's a Tennessee fan, but they don't know about Talkin VAWLS, tell them about it. Let them know. If you got friends, family members, whoever, tell them about Talkin VAWLS. If you see that we tweet out that we're going live, retweet it, share it. I know it's simple and it's like, well, how would I do that, Boogie? If one person sees it and we gain a subscriber, that's how we grow this fan base, get more people in here. We rely on you guys, man. We rely on you guys. As much as I talk about the thumbs up and the analytics, all of that is true to a certain extent. It does help the channel, but nothing helps the channel like word of mouth. And you guys show up and you show out, and we appreciate the support. But I think it's 10 o'clock. SEC Nation is in Knoxville. I think I'm going to jump off of here and go check it out. So again, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget, we will be live immediately following the game. So come hang out with us. Hopefully we are celebrating a big win. But that is going to wrap it up for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs howl like weed. Poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past the city.